right. Hi everyone. You're welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today we're going to be talking about something crazy, okay? Very, very, very crazy. And I want you to stay tuned because I feel like you're going to learn something. So yeah, please like, share, subscribe to this channel. I'll see you in a bit. All right, welcome back to this space. So now, what I'm about to have a conversation with you about is basically um, it's a review of something that I saw earlier in the week. It's a it's a conversation between Dr. Jordan Peterson and the Diary of a Serial Guy. I don't know if you know him, but yeah. So I'm just gonna play the video for you, and then let's have a discussion about it. Okay. Yeah.
Relationships, there's that. Then there's the issue of abortion and pregnancy. That actually constitutes a problem. And then there's sexually transmitted disease. And that's just like the first of a very long list of potential problems with sex. So there's no simple sexual landscape. And there are deluded people who think there is a simple landscape and that there should be. But most they tilt hard in the psychopathic direction because they're manipulative.
Do you believe in no sex before marriage as a concept?
As an ideal, yeah.
You see, let's stop there. You see, one of the rising one of the rising problems we're having in this generation is the issue of sex. You see, I'm going to say a lot of things that many people might not agree with, and it's okay. Um, but I genuinely believe that it is possible to stay, you know, single and not have sex. I believe it. I believe that it is possible for you not to have sex until you're actually married. And while there are some, I'm a Christian, while there are some, spiritual implications or maybe even consequence and all of those things, I think there are also psychological consequences to these things, right? There are real psychological, proven and tested consequences to having sexual partners outside of marriage or having partners, multiple sexual partners, right? Um, it's crazy how uncontrollable it's becoming. It's crazy, right? So, yeah, let's continue.
That's right.
And why would that result in better relationships and a better society more broadly?
Well, here's one way of looking at it. So let's say you take the alternative approach, okay? You're going to try your partner on for size, so you live together. Well, first of all, we know that couples who live together are more likely to get divorced rather than less.
Yeah.
We know that the probability of cheating is proportionate to the number of partners before the marriage or the
You see why. You see, let me tell you why this is true. It is true because it's just ironic. Many times people say they want to test out things before marriage, so they live with their partners and all of those things. They cohabitate or whatever it is they do. Say, okay, I want to see how it's going to feel like to live with this person. I want to, in fact, sometimes people go as far as saying, I want to have sex with this person to know how it's going to be. Maybe this person is sexually compatible with me. The irony of this whole thing is you think that by testing the waters, quote and unquote, you have a better chance in your marriage. But what always happens is when you've done that over and over again, when marriage comes, for some strange reason, people that have sexual partners outside of marriage find it easy to drop their partners in marriage. This is just science. This is not even spiritual. This is nothing spiritual that I'm talking about. This is just research, science, what psychologists can tell you happens in marriage. Many of the divorce, whatever that happens is as a result of the fact that people spend time outside of marriage doing marriage things. Let's continue.
Their committed relationship.
Really?
Well, partly that's just self-evidence. Like the best predictor of future behavior is past behavior. Right. So if you had a lot of partners, you're the sort of person who's likely to have a lot of partners. And then there's also a conceptual problem. It's like, are you shopping for a car? It's like you're going to take it out for a test drive and see how it goes.
Exactly what I
Okay,
said.
that's not the right metaphor. And then here's another problem. I'm going to see what it's like to be married by living with this person. It's like, no, you're not. Because you don't know what it's like to be married until you're married.
Exactly. It's like there is a sacredness, there is a commitment, there is something about marriage in the real sense of it, in the core of it, that makes every other weird commitment outside of the court of marriage, it makes all those things look like child's play. It's just it's weird. Honestly, let's continue.
Whatever you're doing when you live together, that's not a model for what you're going to do when you're married.
It's not.
Because being married is different. It's permanent.
It is.
So you're saying don't live together before you.
Well, I know the stats on living together. It's like you live with someone and then you marry them, you're more likely to get divorced. So
Oh
it
my
doesn't
God.
work. Like the theory was you try it out, and if it works, you go ahead with it.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, the theory was wrong because that isn't what happens. It actually increases the probability that the relationship will fail. It's also partly, you got to ask yourself what the message is. I know what the message is when you live with someone. It's pretty straightforward. You'll do unless someone better comes along.
You see, I learned this a while ago. I kind of know a little bit about what he's saying. I've not lived with any sexual partner before, so I'm talking about experience, close relatives and all of those things, right? And I can tell you this for a fact. If you cheat or if you don't have a problem cheating with the person that you want to get married to, you shouldn't have a problem when they cheat on you, because every time you have sex with someone that you're not in marriage with, what you do is you're training them to become manipulative. You're training them to become, it's kind of like there is, quote unquote, a beast in every man, and this happens more with men. There is, quote unquote, a beast in every man, and every time you satisfy his sexual desires outside of the proper context, what you do is you are training that beast to become manipulative. And that's why many relationships get toxic. When you begin to satisfy each other with things that are supposed to happen in the proper context of marriage, you're training them to be unsatisfied. You're training them to be toxic. You're training them to be manipulative. So now they will do everything possible to get sexually pleased, so to speak. And even if that means going out to get it, they will do so. So what happens many times is you've trained this person to become hedonistic, manipulative, sadistic over time, and now you're married to the person. That trait that you've trained them to become, it will be like that until they do it against you. So you're training them thinking, oh, it's just two of us. We're the ones having the sex. We're the ones doing this. We're the ones doing that. But what you're doing is you're training them to become everything that they are not supposed to become in marriage. I'm telling you.
and I'll grant you the same opportunity. But Jesus, that's a hell of a foundation for a like long-term relationship.
So you saying go from single to married and living together straight away without the like try-on period?
Well, I don't know exactly what the trial period should be. I mean, people have dated, and I'm also not saying that this is simple. It's
Yeah.
not simple. Well, why
it's
would
not.
it be simple? It's not. There isn't anything more difficult that you do in your entire life than find a partner and establish a family. It's like it's going to be hard. How to do it optimally? Well, I can tell you in my own experience, like I've known my wife since she was 8, and we were friends, good friends, and we kind of departed from each other.
And generally,
Oh, another reason that sex has disappeared.
yeah,
Right, right.
you talk about hedonism in your book,
Mhm.
We Who Wrestle with God. Pornography, is this a bad thing?
Don't even get me started. Don't even get me started. Oh my God. Let's hear what he has to say.
It's a terrible thing. Yeah, it's a terrible thing.
It's terrible.
Everything about it is terrible.
Really?
Well, first of all, it's addictive, and no wonder. I mean, any 13-year-old boy can now look at more beautiful, naked women in one day than the greatest king who ever lived managed in his whole life.
Jesus.
Right. So it's like, wow, that's not
And talk me through the downstream consequences of such a
it's
possibility.
easy.
You see, one of the consequences of pornography that many people don't know is that every time you engage in it, it becomes easy to do it again. The real problem with pornography is not just the act, but what happens after. What happens after is that you will, every time you do it, you're growing the desire to depend on it. Many people grow the desire to depend on pornography intentionally or unintentionally. And that's what happens to people. So people, oh my God, it's listen, maybe this video will be in 2 parts, but it's crazy how that at least 1 in 3 men deal with pornography. And now you see the problem. The problem now is these same people that are dealing with pornography get into a relationship, have a partner that is willing to satisfy them sexually outside the context or the structure of marriage, and become terrible people, whether they like it or not. It becomes toxic. So it's either you're dealing with porn, there is a person, a real person, beautiful lady on your bed in marriage, and you're looking at 1,000 other people on phone. Listen, it's crazy. It's so crazy. And honestly, I feel like the way the world is wired, like it was saying that now any 13-year-old, even less, of that age, can pick up a phone and see a whole lot. And many people encourage pornography. I don't know. It's crazy, because the real problem is not just in doing it at the time. The problem is you're training your body, your mind to depend on it, such that if you don't do it, it feels like you're going to die. It's crazy. It's just like any other habit. Alcoholism, smoking, and all of those things. It's terrible. So I'm just going to stop here today, because I feel like if I continue this whole, it's going to be a whole series, and maybe I should do a whole series on this, because I feel like many people are battling with a lot of things. Firstly, I don't think if you're dealing with pornography, I don't think you should be in a relationship. I don't think so. I think you should deal with it, become better, get accountability, put a structure around yourself that would make sure that you don't fall into it again. When you're better, when you're okay, then you can get into a relationship. But if you don't deal with that, you will realize many times that you will keep getting into that circle. The relationship gets toxic because there is something that you're constantly looking for that you're not getting from your partner, and it gets toxic. The moment your partner stops giving you all those pleasures, you start manipulating them. You see, and there is something about manipulation. The normal manipulation that many people know is, oh, this person made me do this. Okay, I didn't want to do it, but the person made me do it. That's one. There is another one that happens in such a way that I will make you do something. I won't say do it. I won't force you. I will plant seeds of manipulation in your heart. I will make you do it. And when you're done with it, you would start with the whole condemnation thing, and you will condemn yourself because you will think it was your idea to do it in the first place. Listen, if you watch it closely, you understand that what I'm saying is true. Many people, men, especially people that deal with pornography, have the ability to manipulate people into giving them sexual desires, sexual pleasures, because they just can't get off it. So, I'll stop there today. Maybe we'll continue this series, maybe not. But I just thought to say this. I just thought to share this because I think it's so important. If we're going to be talking about, all that I said I was going to be talking about on this channel, I think this part is also very important. If you're a guy listening to me and you're dealing with pornography, get accountability. Talk to somebody, because you don't want to become a selfish, manipulative, hedonistic person. I'll stop there. Okay. The lesson from this is, if you are dealing with any sexual habit, or if you can't do without sex outside of marriage, or if you think that you have to live with your partner, you are testing waters, you are doing whatever it is you think you're doing, you're probably destroying the future that you claim to be building, because you just might lose everything. If you see, one toxic relationship is all it takes to lose everything. You can make research, see stories. One toxic relationship is all it takes to lose everything. So I hope you learned something today. I know that this video is not for everybody, but it's okay. Yeah,